what do you think is a more powerful approach to bringing people to the faith of Christianity? Is it things like trying to prove the historicity of the resurrection, or
Oh,
more trying to demonstrate what it is that the resurrection is supposed to represent for people emotionally?
yeah. Well, I'm sure that if you're talking about evangelistic effectiveness, it would be the latter, because I do think that people tend to make decisions primarily on the basis of emotions rather than on the basis of reason. But having said that, I think that many university educated people um, are closed to the message of the gospel because they think that it is intellectually um, uncredible and therefore not something that can be believed by an intelligent person. And so, for that reason, I have tried to present the message of the gospel in the context of giving an intellectual defense of the faith. Um, I doubt that very many people will become Christians because of the arguments, but I think that what the arguments can do is give a person the permission to believe when his heart is moved by the message of the gospel.
I see. So when talking to, say, an atheistic crowd, I've seen that in some of your lecture tours, I attended one in person actually when you came to
Oh,
Oxford just before the pandemic, I think. And you tend to use five arguments, I believe. I'm not sure if this is still your approach, but you'd lay out, I think it must have been the Kalam, the fine tuning, and one of the arguments was the resurrection of Jesus.
yes.
In those instances, when you're talking to university students who are, yeah, oftentimes going to be predominantly atheist, maybe not in the actual lecture theatre, given the kind of talk that it is, but is your approach here something like, listen to these arguments, they should convince you or compel you at least to move slightly more towards Christianity? Or is it more a sense of, well, let me paint this as an intellectually credible position for you, but actually bringing you to Christianity is going to require something else entirely?
Yes, it's the latter. And so if you look at those arguments, Alex, that I present, they begin with great generality. God is the best explanation why anything at all exists rather than nothing. And then it becomes a little bit more specific. God is the best explanation of the origin of the universe. And then, still more specific, God is the best explanation of the fine tuning of the universe for intelligent life. And then the moral argument that God is the best explanation for objective moral duties and values in the world, which raises then, of course, the question of our moral culpability before God. And then I end typically with the claim that God can be personally known and experienced. And often I will, if I have time, share here a word of personal testimony from my own experience of coming to Christ. And so it moves from the intellectual to that more personal dimension and attempts to end with a definite personal appeal to people to explore a commitment to Christ and to know Him in a personal way. So it's not just an intellectual exercise.